G'day, I'm Nick Evans, third generation farmer. We're based in Echuca, Victoria. We're a mixed farming operation. We've got about 5,000 acres and a little bit of contracting mixed in with what we do. We grow a lot of beans, wheat, canola, barley, oats. Several years ago now, we had a old 24-row, 15-foot Baldwin disc seeder. And obviously expanding our enterprise, we needed to look for something bigger. A lot of border check irrigation, we run 60-metre bays. So we wanted something that would fit them and our boom spray to eventually implement a controlled traffic farming system, I guess. The boys at Seraphim Machinery in Griffith, they were fantastic. They were happy to work with us to what we wanted. We come up with a 10-metre, 200mm row spacing machine with 3-metre wheel centres, so that when we do finally get onto our controlled traffic system, we can spray and sow on 3 metres. Hopefully it'll work really well. Normally, obviously, we start the year sowing shallow into some pretty dry and harsh conditions, sowing pastures, around that, 5 to 10 to 15 mil, ryegrass and clover pastures. Then we normally move on to canola or oats for some grazing. And then early April, 10th of April onwards, we start our cereal program with canola around that 10 to 15 mils. Then we might sow some early Faber beans. We try and get them down about 50 mils. So it's nice to have a bit of moisture to help aid getting them down that deep. And then wheat and barley around that 25 to 30 mils. It's just so uniform, having an independent depth wheel on every unit. There's 50 of them to change, but it's really not a big deal, probably 10 minutes max. So the thing we like most about changing our depth is how easy it is on the Seraphim Ulti. So there's so much room at the back. Even the ones in the middle at the front aren't too bad. You just grab the handles and just lift them up and select the designated hole for the depth that you want to achieve. They're in 1/2 inch increments. So you normally just go one at a time till you're happy with what it's producing. And been moving around a bit with our machine, doing some contracting with the Seraphim Bar and also our own 2 properties. We probably have a fair radius that we cover, and the soil types, they go from sticky grey clays to nice sort of sandy loams, and it's just, it's amazing how it just adapts itself to the different soil types and does a good job. Even in the wet, we haven't had massive issues. But it just seems to suit for what we want to do. It's so convenient. The maintenance we find with the Seraphim Bar compared to some others is great. Like, you don't have to do every day. You sort of every 3 or 4 days, full grease. 2 blokes, 2 hours, and you're back up and running. Minimise downtime, which is sort of what we want, because when it rains we're stopped. So when the going's good, you got to sort of keep going, and the least amount of time we can spend stopped, the better for what we're trying to do. Yeah, another thing we love about our Seraphim Ulti bar is having a bigger disc. It turns marginally slower, which allows it to cut through stubble and still keep your ground speed up. And down pressure is not an issue. Obviously, the slower you go, the less force you need to keep them in the ground. So with a bigger disc, they're naturally turning slower. And we don't have any issues with down force at all with this machine. We sow a few check banks. We don't have any contour banks down our way, but to sow check banks, we sow them on a little bit of an angle, and you can just roll over them, and the results you achieve are massive. Like, you don't have that dead strip in your paddock where you don't grow anything, and either side's just as good because the bar individual depth control, it just flows so nicely. Transport too, obviously we're on the road a fair bit, so our bar's got a width with the tractor and air cart, it's 3.8 metres. Obviously, being on 3-metre wheel centres, it was going to be nearly impossible to be under 3.5 for transport, but having it at 3.8, single escort, it's quite easy to move around. Speed's not really an issue, it transport's awesome. Since I've been a kid, obviously Dad bought our first 15-footer through Seraphim Machinery, which was well over 10 years ago. So we've been dealing with the guys up there for over 10 years now, and any sort of suggestions or ideas, they're willing to implement them or put them forward to try and make everyone's day easier, and at the end of the day produce a better product for everyone. And I guess at the end of the day, they are local, Australian made in Griffith. It's only 3 hours away, so parts are never an issue. They're only really a phone call away. If you ever need anything, parts are always in stock. So, but we don't really have the need for many parts. We do a pre-season every year. You just obviously have the odd thing that breaks, but in general, we're very lucky. We're only a call away. We're only around the corner, really.